We will never have another rivalry like the Warriors and the Thunder had from 2013 to 2017. Every game they played in that span was more intense than the previous one, from game-winning buzzer beaters to a playoff heartbreak, and from brotherhood to the betrayal of the century. This rivalry had everything, and it all began with this frantic finish.
Westbrook outside for the lead. Good! He got it! He got it! It's a 1-point Thunder lead! 2.3 to play! And Westbrook with the cold-blooded three!
Russ drains the wild three, shocking the entire arena, but there were still 2.3 seconds on the clock, just enough for a miracle.
Iguodala, here it comes. He got it! The Warriors have won on a game-winning shot by Iguodala!
Iggy wins the game at the buzzer, causing madness in the Oracle. Under Mark Jackson, the Dubs were led by the young Splash Brothers and David Lee, who was an all-star the year prior, and they wanted to show the world that they have something real brewing down there. Meanwhile, the Thunder were already established among the West Elite with KD and Russ in their prime. And just 2 weeks later, the two teams met again in Oklahoma for a rematch. And the visitors were on the brink of another huge upset in OT when this happened.
At the elbow, off the heel of the iron, rebound, change by Oklahoma City. Westbrook in.
What a shot!
Westbrook avenges his team by drilling the dagger to send the fans into an absolute delirium. But in their last meeting of the season, Brodie couldn't do anything to help his team but watch from the sidelines as he was dealing with chronic knee pain ever since this happened.
Go to the front of the rim, pick up that garbage.
42-41 and Westbrook hobbling away.
Beverly went for the steal just as the timeout was called, and he actually got part of the knee of Russell Westbrook. He is really upset with Beverly right now.
So Kevin Durant knew he had to bring his A game, and he came out sizzling hot, firing on all cylinders right off the bat.
Here's Durant for three. You bet! Durant is 9 of 10 from the floor. Durant gets the dunk. Durant lets it go. No. 50 for Kevin Durant. Durant to the elbow, falling away. Of course! He ties a career high with 52. He scored the last 11.
KD erupted for a career high 54 points on 68% efficiency, closing the season series against the Warriors 2-1 in their favor. The Thunder would go on to have a deep playoff run, beating the Grizzlies in a grueling 7-game series before moving past the Clippers in 6 games in the second round. Finally, their trip ended in the West Finals when they collided with the good old Spurs, re-energized with the phenomenal play of the 22-year-old Kawhi Leonard. On the other hand, Golden State as a 6th seed just fell short of upsetting CP3 and Blake Griffin in one of the most entertaining series of the playoffs. The next season, however, the Dubs were a different beast under Steve Kerr, taking the league by a storm. And against OKC, they needed a statement. A week before Christmas, it all came down to the wire, just like in the previous matches. But this time, the chef took over when it mattered the most.
Curry getting inside. Could be a quarter. They led by as many as 17. Curry gets Warriors by 1. Curry on the hesitation move. Takes it home. Timeout. By Scott Brooks.
Cuts, step backs, floaters, every shot Curry took was a gut punch to the Thunder. Golden State was on a roll, winning 22 of their 25 games at the start, sending a clear message to the league. This is not just a hot start, we're here to stay. 2 weeks later, another date was booked, and this one was nothing like the earlier death matches. It was a total of 26-point beatdown by Golden State. They held KD and Russ to a combined 8 of 37 shooting from the floor. That's 21%, which is atrocious. But as they did many times before, the Thunder bounced back in a dominant fashion in their next meeting with the Warriors. 36 points for Durant and a triple-double for Westbrook got him a 12-point win at home. But the OKC hopes of turning the season around ended briefly afterwards as the medical staff shut down KD for the remainder of the season due to the need of another surgery to his right foot, which he injured back in October. So with his season being cut short to just 27 games, the Thunder barely missed the playoffs despite having the same record as the New Orleans Pelicans, who finished at number 8.
Davis at the buzzer for the win, and the Pelicans defeat the Thunder at the buzzer. answer.
Things went from bad to worse for OKC, who had to watch their rivals beating all odds on their way to the 2015 NBA championship. We were witnessing the birth of a new dynasty. The following season, the Thunder were finally healthy and ready to punch back. But they were no match for the Splash Bros and Draymond Green, who took the Warriors to a record-breaking 73 wins. They swept the season series 3-0, with the second game becoming an instant classic.
Curry for three, nails it. 10 three-pointers, back-to-back games with 10 threes, and he ties his NBA record. Curry, another three. Oh, it's good! The Curry eruption continues!
Steph Curry caught fire, 12 threes for 46 points. And then, the shot that caused Mike Breen to lose his mind.
Rebound taken by Iguodala. They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! With 0.6 of a second remaining. The brilliant shooting of Stephen Curry continues. And he ties the NBA record with his 12th three-pointer of the game.
Curry delivers one of the most iconic NBA moments of all time and walks it off among the stunned Thunder crowd. And while Golden State dominated the league, Oklahoma wasn't too shabby either, winning 55 games, good enough for the third seed in the West. So the basketball purists finally got what they needed, a best-of-7 thriller between the league's brightest stars. In Game 1, KD and Russ came prepared to shut down all the critics.
Well, now the big lineup is on the floor as Westbrook with the steal. Lazy pass by Draymond Green. 15 points in the quarter for Westbrook.
Here's Durant. He finally hits.
The Thunder's flashy duo sealed the game late to steal home court. However, the Warriors struck back with a blowout win in Game 2.
Green around Adams. Finds Thompson for three. Yes.
The way he was walking off, again, it looked like that lower back was bothering him.
Here's Curry able to penetrate. It counts in the foul. Curry eluding Ibaka and it hits from downtown.
Back and forth we go as OKC returned the favor, crushing Golden State by 28 points in Game 3.
But it's a new 24 now for Oklahoma City, and it leads to that. Russell Westbrook with the bucket for Durant. Durant the trailer. Westbrook. Here is Westbrook with the finish.
Durant and Westbrook were too much to handle offensively for the Dubs, especially Russ, who continued torching them in Game 4.
So Chris, as you notice, Reggie thrived on being the villain as Westbrook with a beautiful move.
Yes.
Westbrook for three.
What an answer.
Westbrook for three.
The Brodie exploded for 36 points and another supreme 24-point victory to take a commanding 3-1 lead. The defending champs were clinging on the ropes. Everything was indicating a disaster for the best team in the league.
I did not expect Russell Westbrook to be this dominant, and he is.
With their backs against the wall in a tight Game 5, it was the bench guys that saved the Warriors from elimination.
Iguodala for three. Yes! Billy Donovan. Livingston try to put a spin move on Waiters and hits. Spates got the step. Here's Spates. It counts at the foul.
Sean Livingston, Iggy, and Maurice Spates doubled the 6-point lead in a 4-minute span at the start of the fourth quarter, which turned out to be just what they needed in order to stay alive. But Game 6 in Oklahoma saw a different setting as the Thunder had an 8-point lead going into the final period in front of the roaring home crowd. They looked ready to finish the job. The only thing is, this turned into Klay Thompson's most famous game of his career.
Thompson, a rainbow three. Klay Thompson with his 8th three-pointer. A long three for Thompson, and that is an NBA record. Lost it. Again, it is Iguodala. Thompson fires for three. Yes! Golden State by 3.
Klay single-handedly beat the Thunder, scoring 19 of his 41 points in the fourth quarter. He simply couldn't miss, nailing 11 threes in the process, setting a new playoff record. Finally, the rivalry reached its boiling point, a Game 7 in Oakland. And if you think that OKC were crushed after 2 losses and would simply give it up, you're wrong. They came out swinging on the road, taking a double-digit lead in the first half.
Stolen by Westbrook. There's Canner. Skinner able to put it on the floor and go right at Iguodala. On the drive, missed the reverse, but it's Cannon with the tip.
And as Skinner was looking unstoppable early in the second, time and time again punishing the smaller defenders inside the paint. But then the tide turned and Captain Clay decided to save the day.
Thompson, yes! And the Warriors hoping that Thompson moving to his left and hits.
OKC fans probably had nightmares of seeing Thompson raising up for a shot, and his little splash bro too, as Curry made sure to take over in the second half.
Double digits again.
Curry, yes! Met by the switching Adams. Curry fires, yes!
Dominated tonight, 11 of 21.
Here's Curry, yes!
Steph scored 24 of his 36 points in the second half, completing the Warriors' historic 3-1 comeback. Oracle Arena shakes as the Thunder walk off in disbelief. Golden State advanced to the finals only to suffer the same fate they had just dealt to OKC, blowing a 3-1 lead, this time to LeBron James and the Cavs. However, the offseason brought the biggest shock of all. Kevin Durant joined the very team that had just broken his heart, and subsequently he broke his buddy's heart. Just like that, the city of Oklahoma was robbed of what could have been if KD and Russ stayed together. The fans were enraged, and for their first matchup in Oakland, Westbrook showed up wearing this. This was him taking a jab at KD, who was known for loving photography. Nonetheless, Durant was the one smiling after the game as he put up 39 points in a ruthless 26-point win. He dismantled his old team again in January by scoring a 40-piece and another 21-point blowout.
Durant for three. That's his fifth of the game and a 40-point outing.
But nothing compared to his first game back in Oklahoma. It was a pure theater. The cupcakes and the booze were overwhelming, and the tension with Westbrook reached its boiling point.
Now Durant and Robertson go forehead to forehead. Durant still talking to him.
This was peak cinema back then. The Dubs swept the season series 4-0 and went on to win 2 consecutive titles with Durant as their MVP. But for a split second in 2017, Russ finally got his payback. A near triple-double in a win over Golden State. It wasn't just a win for him, it was personal.
Westbrook and the foul. Westbrook sees an opening and throws it down. There's that nuclear athleticism of Russell Westbrook. Bad pass stolen by Westbrook. Here he goes. Westbrook sidestep. Oh, what a beautiful move from Westbrook.
Kevin and Russell have squashed their beef a long time ago, but it's just sad that these two, once brothers, are mostly remembered for their beef rather than their success. One shot here, one stop there, and the Westbrook-Durant story could have been completely different. Fast forward to today, the Thunder are the reigning NBA champs and finally have something to put up against the 4 rings of the Warriors. The only difference is that now they have some new heroes leading the way. Still, the Warriors-Thunder rivalry burned bright and burned fast. It may not have the decades-long history of the Lakers vs Celtics or the raw animosity of Bulls vs Pistons, but for a few short years, it was every bit as fierce, and we'll never have another like it. And Ben Gordon's story is one of a kind as well. I documented his greatest hits against the Celtics in 2009 as well as his biggest downfalls when he almost took his own life. Click right here to check it out and talk to you in the next one. Peace out.